Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on The Flash Season 9. Now, we are at a bit of a weird part of the year as we are into the month of October. Actually, we're into the back half, really, to be specific and exact. And The Flash, as well as a show like Superman and Lois, usually are on TV at the moment, but they're not, which is weird. Of course, the only season of The Flash where it wasn't on at this point, or around this point, I guess, was the COVID impacted season of season 7. So yeah, it's weird to see all these other shows, whether it be on the CW or other networks, coming back on air and saying, hey, new season, but then you have to wait a few months to get your boy, Barry Allen, back on our screens, speeding in and everything like that. But The Flash is about like 3 episodes roughly into filming, I think, at least based off my expert mathematical calculations. So they still have a good amount of time, with filming, so a good amount of time to go until they're done. But one thing that many people have been curious about as to whether it will re-emerge, I guess you could say, in this 9th and final season of The Flash, including myself, is that of the multiverse. Now, we of course saw towards the end of the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover that the heroes of Earth Prime believed they were the only remaining Earth in the multiverse, with the belief that the rest of the multiverse either was like destroyed or folded into what became Earth Prime, like how we saw with the characters of Black Lightning and Supergirl. But we saw that the multiverse still exists with shows like Stargirl, Titans, Doom Patrol, and various movie universes where they lie in the new multiverse, and seeing how central the multiverse was to The Flash as a show, really just, I guess, from the end of season 1, but also mainly season 2, and its stories from many seasons that followed after that, it seems only fitting that Team Flash learns of what, Oliver Queen was able to put together and what we saw at the end of Crisis. Now, of course, 2 current shows also on the CW are a part of that new multiverse. Those, of course, being Stargirl, which I mentioned earlier, and then Superman and Lois, which up until recently, we just assumed was actually on Earth Prime due to prior references in Season 1 and character appearances and all that. However, those 2 shows with Superman and Lois and Stargirl aren't like what a show like Supergirl was when it was on a different Earth to the other shows, and we knew that, because Supergirl would cross over somewhat regularly that kept a connection between itself and the Arrowverse to the point where you would, freely call Supergirl an Arrowverse show, despite it not existing on the same Earth. While Stargirl has minor connections with a character like Jay Garrick, played by John Wesley Shipp, and that's about it. And Superman and Lois has sort of gone out of its way to be disconnected, despite the fact it did connect some stuff in season 1, which they've sort of, taken back, say, hey, we didn't actually mean that, and they've tried to give an excuse. So they aren't properly connected like Supergirl was, but they do share a good amount of DNA through production companies, writers, and just cast members that show up from time to time or just have in the past. But despite those very strong connections, neither Superman and Lois or Stargirl has directly connected or crossed over with the Arrowverse, or in particular, the Flash, as of yet. Stargirl potentially could have done that with Jay Garrick, but, they never really went further than that, and Superman and Lois, as I said, have sort of like taken a step back. But could Season 9 of The Flash change that? We're in a weird period where that glue, known as the Arrowverse, or I guess Earth Prime as we know it, it's about to come to an end. Could this upcoming season do something that puts both Superman and Lois as well as Stargirl in a position where they could serve as like an expansion of sorts of the Arrowverse? As we did bring up before, both Supergirl and Black Lightning existed in their own Earths, in their own universes, before Crisis, but due to them interacting with Earth 1 characters and crossovers, they ended up falling under the Arrowverse banner, which then led to them being absorbed into Earth Prime post-Crisis alongside all the other Earth 1 characters. I mean, a crossover with The Flash could do the exact same thing for Superman, Lois, and Stargirl. You would be able to get the best of both worlds, in which, each show gets their own individual Earth and style and all of that, but it's connected in a stronger way to a larger creative world outside of that. So really, the Arrowverse would change and no longer be a single Earth with most of the characters from various shows, but it would become an entire area or section of or sector of the new multiverse that was created at the end of Crisis by Oliver Queen Spectre. Now, the consistent appearances and references and just, I guess, overall loss of the multiverse following the end of Crisis, or following the events of Crisis or the end of Crisis, whichever way you want to put it, really did rip out a chunk and just a major player of the Flash and its style and its identity from, really season 2 up until what happened in Crisis. Like, what sort of separated the Flash from not just the other DCTV shows, whether it be on the Arrowverse or other channels, but just a good amount of other comic book shows and movies in general, was the multiverse. Bringing back the multiverse in the Flash's ninth and final season could really make everything come full circle, which is something I've been hoping to see from it in a variety of different areas with character stories. But this would be another case of just making everything come full circle and making everything feel complete. This would allow us to venture back into the weird and like zany things and people that can be pulled from the multiverse. Like if the Flash is, to not touch the multiverse again, then it would most definitely signal the end of Earth Prime and the Arrowverse and the characters within that Earth just to never be seen again for the most part, which I think if it's wrapped up well would be fine with most people. I think I'd be pretty fine with that if it's done well. But that's all going to come down to personal preference. Like I could say, okay, I think that's done well. I'd give it like an 8 out of 10 in regards to how they did that. And you go, you're an idiot, Pagey. I think that's a 3 out of 10. I freaking hated it. What the hell? So it's going to come down to personal preference in regards to that. So they're probably not going to be able to get a full-on W if that's how they go about things. People are going to be wanting more, just not happy with how that happened. But if there is a rediscovery of the multiverse and its like potential infinite Earths, the Arrowverse would still be a functioning part of the DC multiverse in which things can be picked up again or brought back into play if they do wish to do so. Of course, the fact that the final season of The Flash is only 13 episodes, which is 5 less than the shortest season before that, is a worrying sign that they will even really attempt to dive into anything that isn't vital to the main character on the show, and I guess mainly Barry Allen. But it could literally be one episode in that 13 episode season where it's towards the beginning, towards the end, somewhere in the middle, that is dedicated to the multiverse and having fun with it. Maybe there's a villain that shows up and they have no records of it, and it's like, well, hold on, they've come from a different Earth. They have to dive into that, which then allows them to find the multiverse again. And that doesn't mean they have to explain what this new Earth 2 is and what the next, all the way up to like Earth 89. They don't have to like explain everything like that. Just, dip your toe back into the multiverse, say it's there, have some fun with it, and then maybe there's a couple of different references, and then maybe some little connective tissues that are built. But the main thing would just be to have some fun with it, one episode that's dedicated to it, if that's the way they want to go about it. That might be all that you actually need. But I think I would be more confident in thinking they would, even really look into having fun again or, diving back into the multiverse if there was like 18 episodes at the very least. As I said, 18 episodes is the least amount of episodes that have been in a season before this. And I think if I look back at, I think that was season, God, what season was that? Was that season 6? Or was that season 7? It might have been season 7. I can't remember what season it was. But they felt like a lot happened in those seasons regardless of the fact that it was only 18 episodes. 13 is pretty slimmed down, especially when you got to wrap up the show and potentially a universe as a whole as well. So more episodes will give me more confidence they might think about this. But if you only have to dedicate one episode to it, it doesn't really take away too much from things. And I think you could still do it pretty easily. Just give them more room to play and spend time on stuff that isn't of 100% importance to the main characters and their stories. But I don't know, with a 13 episode limit, might make things a bit difficult. Now, one thing I'm actually including late into this video, I've had this video planned for a bit, like in regards to the notes stuff, but it only came out probably the day before I'm recording this, and this probably came out like a few days before this video will go up, maybe a week, I'm not too sure when the video will go up. But there was a deleted scene from season 8's finale for The Flash, and I've probably done a video specifically on it, discussing what was in it and everything like that. But it does say in that clip that Barry was off-world, and it doesn't specify whether Barry was off-world in he's on a different planet like Saturn or Mars or some other planet in space, or if he's on somewhere else in the multiverse, because that off-world could mean that as well. He's just off this world, which is Earth Prime, so he could be elsewhere within the multiverse. And I don't think in any of the future stuff or the future scenes where they've referenced villains and stuff like that, they've talked about the multiverse since post-crisis when they've had future scenes. So that might have been the first hint that the multiverse was back and that Barry freely travels the multiverse as well. But it's also not concrete in that from anything in that scene to say, oh yeah, they say that Barry's on Earth 6 or whatever the new Earth there is. They just say he's off-world and that's it. So it doesn't really put anything concrete, but that could have been a hint at it as well. I don't think they touch it. I mean, that scene was deleted, so it's hard to know whether that's even going to be relevant going forward. But I just thought it would be something that could be mentioned, sort of goes along with the rest of what we talked about in this video. But I think if we are going to get the multiverse back, I actually think we'll probably, I don't know, I want to say we'll probably learn about it before it even happens on the show, because I think it'd be like an advertising thing, and even general castings, they might cast someone of a character that's died on Earth Prime. Like we could get a multiverse Oliver Queen, or it could just be a multiverse version of the character that's we're led to believe has died on Earth Prime. So it could be something like that. But there's also even just the question of like Jay Garrick. Like, I mean, he looks like Barry's dad. So where was Jay Garrick from? Did he just get put here? Like, we're going to learn his history. Is it connected to the Stargirl history, which is Earth 2? We were told that they were the same version of the Jay Garrick, or the same version of Jay Garrick, but we really didn't get any follow on from that. So could they slide that little reference in there, which then opens up the doors just through that reference? We didn't even have to go to Earth 2. They can just say that this Jay Garrick is that Jay Garrick from Earth 2 that survived the night that the JSA or the rest of the JSA was killed. And he managed to get to Earth Prime and be able to heal himself and live a life there. I don't know, they could do a reference like that. It's a wait and see. It can be a bit of a tricky writing situation that people wouldn't love, or at least you wouldn't be able to get everyone to love it. But it's just a question that a lot of people have had since Christ. It's like, well, we know the multiverse is out there. The Flash is a multiverse character. When's he going to tap into it? Like, what's going on? But yeah, it's a wait and see. Hopefully we get something in the final season, but that's for us to wait and watch and find out, I guess. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it, show support. Let me know in the comments section down below your various opinions on this video. Just your thoughts. Do you want the multiverse back? How would you do it? Any cool things you could think they could implement which would make it work well or better than it has before. No, yeah, let me know your thoughts down there in the comments. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.